Today we're talking about the one video that every YouTube channel needs to have. If you're a creator or a business owner trying to build something out of this channel and get clients through YouTube or get customers, get sales, and you don't have this video, you're missing a foundation that makes everything else work. I'm calling it the story arc video, and it's not what everybody else tells you. Make a video introducing yourself. Those videos always tend to flop. What you need is a strategically crafted story that positions you as the obvious choice when prospects are ready to buy. This is how you become a go-to person in your space, not just another business owner, a salesman disguised as a creator with a YouTube channel. So today I'm showing you how to make that video in 7 easy steps. Let's rock and roll. Step number 1 is to find what is called our 5-second moment. So when we look at the story we want to tell, whether we're talking about how we lost 50 pounds or how we reversed hair loss, there is one thing that every story has, and that's the moment of realization. That's the moment where it all clicked in your head. Something happened, and then moving forward, everything was clear as day. You knew exactly what to do. And it's called the 5-second moment. And you need to identify it for your unique story because it's going to be the center point of everything we do moving forward. And you can find it by asking yourself a couple of simple questions. At what moment did I decide to change everything? Where was I? What was I doing? What was I feeling? What thoughts were running in my head? How did I get to this realization? And why did I decide to go on this path? What was the decision-making process? As I'm asking you all of these questions, you're probably thinking of the 5-second moment right now because everybody remembers their unique 5-second moment. For me, it's when I was punching a door in a restaurant after a client was blowing up my phone with 48 messages and 10 calls on a Saturday afternoon. And that was the exact moment when I decided that things have to change. And if you're thinking like, oh, but I can't come up with my 5-second moment, I don't remember it, I don't know all the details, I'm just confused. Well, think harder. Go around back to these questions and try to answer them. This step is non-negotiable because all the next parts, everything else coming up, will revolve around this step. This is the center point. This is the foundation of your story and you need to have it. The next step ties into the first one and it's where most stories fail. So listen up. Step number 2, start with action. Most people take very long to get to the exciting part of the story. They start from the point where they're born and the action only starts at like minute number 35. But by the second minute, they already lost everybody listening or not listening, but you get me. So don't make the mistake and start the story at exactly the opposite point of your 5-second moment. Remember the 5-second moment, then look at what is the opposite point. The miserable point is what I call it, where you felt desperate and stuck. It's the moment where you thought that there's no way out of this situation. Let's say your 5-second moment is realizing that traveling the world isn't that expensive, quitting your 9-to-5 job and flipping off your abusing boss in front of everybody in the office. Well, then start your story from the office. So, example, it goes like this. Another morning in the cubicle. My face pale in contrast with the coffee I'm drinking. I'm stuck in this little box responding to emails while under surveillance from my boss who's coming every 20 minutes to check what I'm doing. I hate this fucking life. Do you see how I did that? This way you immediately jump to the interesting part of the story to get people hooked, and then later, if you think it's relevant, you can return to give context to what led up to that moment of your misery. So please don't think you have to start your story with, I was born in 2002 in a small town of... That's not the way you're gonna get strangers interested. Just start your story where there's already action. But what I'm not saying is that you should take all of that context, all of your backstory, and just throw it out of the water, because that should be your next step. Your next step should be to use that backstory. Step number 3, the hero's origin. And this is where you should take all of that context and that backstory, the rich backstory that you have, that I, by the way, said not to use, and use it in this step because it now makes sense. So people already decided to stay. People already clicked on your video. They're hooked right now. And now you have time to lure this backstory and to shape the story just a bit more, just the basics, just the foundation of who you are and your character. Now you can do this by hitting the 3 main points of any backstory: who you are, where you come from, and what made you start. Now, while telling all of this, don't make the mistake of being too vague. And I know I said that you should only do the basics and do the foundation, but please be specific in all of these. Tell some experiences that you had as a young kid, because there might be some people in your audience that will connect with you on a deeper level, like they had a similar childhood, or they have a similar story of theirs, or they had similar problems with such and such. But again, if you can, don't jibber jabber too much. Tell only the things that are relevant to who you are. So people don't need to know that you were a sweet baby unless that is relevant to the story itself. I know you want to say it in detail, and I know it's important to you, and it was to me, and I already did it in a video, but as I found, nobody really cares that much who my 12 past ancestors were. So, you know, that's the hard truth. take a chill pill, and just tell the basics. And this is how it looks on a script. Ever since I was 12, basketball was my life. But growing up in Serbia, everybody plays here and is so passionate about it. Therefore, the competition is brutal, and I wasn't so naturally gifted at it too. So I had to work like 5 times more than everybody. My favorite player was Kobe Bryant. And you know what that means. 4 hard training sessions every day of the week. No rest days. Those 6 years of hard, relentless work is what allowed me to build up my discipline and work ethic. Nobody outworks me. That's exactly how I landed my first job at that cubicle with that boss. You see how I told my hero's journey without starting from the Big Bang or Jesus' crucifixion, but I still managed to give context on like who I am, what I've gone through, what experience I have, and that's the key to keeping the viewers watching. So in the next step that we can deliver the most important part of the story, and that's step 4, the eye opener. So you've already found your 5-second moment, but here's where you tell your audience everything about it, every little detail, everything that happened, everything that led up to that 5-second moment. It's telling a story within a story, and you don't need any special method or framework to write it. You just focus on getting the audience to visualize what you're talking about, and you do this by adding details. Listen to how I did it. I wrote it so you can see an example. After the 5th time, my blood was boiling. If he checks on me again, this office will burn with rage. Deep inside me, I knew he would check on me again in a couple of minutes. It was just a matter of waiting, but every minute felt like an hour. 20 hours later, a familiar sound of steps was coming towards me, and before he could even get to me, I jump out of my seat, stop him by putting a hand up, and without a word, left that office forever, never to return the missed calls I had from them. That moment taught me a very important lesson. If you want peace in your life, but especially in a workplace, you're gonna have to fight for it. Not by yelling at people, flipping them off, or turning into an emotional mess, but by commanding respect so that others don't even think about testing you ever. See how I added all of these details to make you feel the story in your chest, to make you experience the whole thing, to make you visualize it. That's the way you should do it too. The eye-opener was only the moment where your worldview changes, but the messy middle is where the real work begins. You need to show your ups and downs on the way to your transformation. To keep viewers engaged, there needs to be some kind of a dynamic of up and then down and then stagnant and then up and then down and so on. And I know that you try to climb a mountain 10 times before reaching the top once, because everybody did that. Everybody has the messy middle part. I like to say that you should give your audience a stock market graph. It goes up, it goes down, then nothing, then up again, then down. Then there's a recession. Everything is down and it feels like you're gonna fail. But then you rise up again like a phoenix. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I do have some cool techniques that you could use to make this better in the whole story. And the first one that I like to outline, and there's 3 of them, is called backpacks. It's when you make a plan and then it completely fails. Find those moments in your stories where your plan got totally fucked up. And this tactic is used in a lot of those money heist movies like Casa de Papel, which is a series, but nonetheless, or Ocean's 11. They always have a detailed plan of efficiently getting in and out and robbing the whole thing, but it never works out the way they planned it. So basically tell what your plan was. My plan was, for example, to, I don't know, talk to my boss and make him feel better and maybe get around and make a relationship with him. But then all of that failed when I couldn't meet my deadline for the week and he ended up resenting me for life. Again, tell your audience how you had a plan, explain it to them in detail, and then totally fuck it up. I'm sure you have something like this because the first business that you started didn't work out, for sure. The plan that you had in your story didn't work out. Nothing works out the first time unless you're really, really, really lucky, and that's like 0.001% of you guys. So everybody has had something that failed, a plan that failed. So just make sure you add it to the story because it will add a dimension of interest. The second technique is called camo bombs. It's when you put little details like these Easter eggs in the story that will later be game changers. For example, in the Lord of the Rings movie, when Gandalf says to Frodo, "Do not be too eager to deal out with that. Even Gollum may have a part to play." And this foreshadows that Gollum will have a part to play in the destruction of the ring, which eventually happens. So analyze your story and see if you could find this little detail that seemed insignificant at first, but really made a big change in the whole story later. Like somebody said something, for example, your grandma looked at you when you were 5 years old with a guitar and said, "You're gonna be the best guitarist ever." And then you ended up being the best guitarist in your state and winning awards and awards at the end of the story. And that's like a little hint that will later become true. It's just a cool technique that you could use for your audience to have that aha moment. Like, oh, I remember that grandma said that, I don't know, 20 minutes earlier in the story, and it could have a cool effect. The third technique is called stakes. So in order to keep people watching and to keep them engaged in your story, we need to make the audience feel like there will be consequences if you don't do something. Basically, if something goes wrong, well, you're fucked. But how do you accomplish that when they already know that you're probably fine since you're filming the video and nothing is at stake for them personally? How do we get them to care? How do we get them to be excited and to have all of this tension build up? We can do that with the addition of side characters in our story, and I'll explain. Friends, family, spouses, people who have an important role in your story. If you used to have a gambling addiction, talk about how your wife threatened to leave you and then take your kids away from you and then ruin your whole life if you don't stop gambling. And I know that this stuff sounds a bit absurd, but you don't need to make this stuff up. Everybody has something unique and crazy that happens in their story. Everybody has something that impacts some other person that they can use in order to create the stakes environment. Just use it to make the story better. And that uniqueness that you're going to pull out of your life and implement in the story is closely tied to the next step. Step 6, your method. This is your method for fixing the problem that you already overcame, but your audience potentially has. Let's say you have a condition of pectus, that your chest is shaped in a different way. Now you want to tell your method for fixing that or making that look less exaggerating. You want to tell your way of doing it, how you did it, and how you can do it for other people. It could be 5 steps to regain smooth skin after years of acne scarring, the triple S method for getting rid of back pain, stretch, stabilize, strengthen. I just made this method up. Give people a roadmap, give people steps, give people a method, give people phases, or even this video is a method, 7 steps to tell a great origin story. You develop your method by looking at your final result, then reverse engineering how you got to that result, and then packaging it in an actionable way, as I already said. Putting it in steps, phases, levels, types. Be creative. Put it in a way that you want to put it. Put it in a way that you think is best. Then you present that method that you packaged to your audience in the form of a story, with visual proof, with explanations, with all the details that you need. And it's important to have your method in the story because of 2 reasons. First, you want to show people how you do it and how you did it. The second, later you want to tie your method to what offer you want to sell to your audience ultimately. So when you do it, it will lead you to the final step, and that's step number 7, end on a high note. Have you ever talked to somebody and they're saying something and you're looking at them and say, okay, continue? And they say, yeah, that's it. Okay, they didn't end the story on a high note. So you got the feeling of like, okay, this is unfinished. You absolutely have to finish the story. You have to put an end to it. And if you can, end on a high note. And this is very important if you want to influence and move people. And that's exactly what we want to do. So here you have to get emotional, get motivational, put some emotions behind your words like I do. And you can do it in this sequence that I will just present right now. First, the wrap up. You wrap up the transformation. Example, I went from being scared of my boss to running every morning to the office excited for the day to start. Highlight. You have to highlight the win. When I talk at meetings now, everybody listens and values my opinion. Anchor. Looking back, the moment I said enough is enough, fought back and stood up for myself, is the moment I got respect from my bosses. So wrap up the transformation, highlight the win, and anchor the story so that it's set in stone of the viewer's mind and they remember it forever. And ladies and gentlemen, that's how you make a great story arc video, the most important one ever for your channel. Because in this new age of AI, original stories and human connection is the only way to fight back. And this is how you do it. If it's your first time seeing me, watch some of my previous videos that are going to be right here that are likely to help you, and I'll see you soon. Now, if you've made it up to this point in the video and you're a business owner who wants to build a YouTube brand and sees the value in building a YouTube brand, but just doesn't have the 40+ hours a week to do so, we take business owners from just another person on YouTube to the go-to guy in their space and niche. And you want to see how we can help you with our done-for-you service to get more clients that way, and you're interested in that, just click the link in the description and schedule a call with us, or you can just message me to get some more info. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.